Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
We're live. There we go.
Evening.
Evening all.
Slight rush there to get live. So apologies that we are a minute late, but I'm sure everyone is happy with that. A few technicality issues going on. Seems like the heat has destroyed a lot of people's routers in the last couple of weeks, mine included. So we will see how we go. But tonight we're talking about Surrey. We're going to talk about quite a few things, actually. I did a live earlier on the Facebook page to highlight that we're going to chat about government incentives, whether there should be something for next year, and if so, what it may be. So we're really keen to get everyone's thoughts on that. Talk about contracts, overvaluing, what's going on in the rental market at the moment. I want to talk a little bit about a certain type of mortgage option that's not there at the moment too. Lee's got an awesome new build site that he's going to share some drone photos of. And it's a little bit of a quirky one, this, so definitely one to look out for. But Chris, first of all, going to come to you, dude. How are things? How are you?
Bedlam. I'm good, but it's bedlam. It's been really good. The reason why I'm late or why we're late is partly because of me, because I'm literally finished up on evaluation. But yeah, it's good. You know, it's really busy. I'm sure most agents will say the same at the moment. It's tightening up, isn't it, in terms of how the market is and what the market's doing. But you know, it's good. No complaints from me.
Awesome. And as I said, if you've got a question, let us know. You can hear us loud and clear, and fire it in the comments. Love to hear from you. Lee, how are things over your neck of the woods, bud?
Yeah, all good. Yeah, very busy. The sun's out. Everybody's happy, enjoying themselves right now. But yeah, no, things are really busy. Similar to Chris at the moment. You know, I've got quite a few listings coming on, valuations taking place, sales happening. So yeah, can't complain at all. Just long may it continue.
Good. And Tristan, you're in HQ. How's aircon treating you?
Yeah, it's lovely. It's definitely right. I told Mike to no carrying ladders behind me today after the last live we done.
You've got the little neon light above your right hand shoulder, like a little avocado pink angel there as well. And
can we point out the new flooring as well? Just down here.
Is there any new apparently there's a new partner called Gary.
Here he is.
Gary the gorilla.
Mike wants to wave.
Oh, there's Gary the gorilla. Hello, Gary.
I like the fact that Gary's just hanging around.
He's just hanging about, yeah. He's waiting for the market to drop. So let's talk about contracts. Let's just talk about contracts because if we're honest, probably most agents haven't needed contracts for about 2 years, just because everything's been selling so fast. But you know, Chris, from your point of view, first and foremost, what is the kind of principle behind an agent tying a client into their services when everyone agrees for X amount of time? What's the benefit to the agent?
Can I be really brutally honest? Because I'm going to be. Right. Well, look, we all know. Obviously, we know how we work, and the way our contracts work, our sole agency contracts, not sole selling rights, for example. But the only benefit to anyone with a 20-week long agreement, which is what we're seeing, I've seen more recently as well, but even 16 weeks, the benefits to the agent, locking a seller in some instances, it's being done tactically, and this might be a bit unpopular amongst some of our agency competitors, but I don't care because it's right. But I think, and I'll give you an example. A house that I listed a couple of weeks ago now came on at a figure of, not going to say the exact one, but for argument's sake, I said 500,000. Another agent said 550, but wanted a 20-week agreement. And the conversation that the clients and I had was, well, look, let's put 2 and 2 together here and get 4, not 5, and we'll see that you're being overpriced and you're being tied into a 20-week long agreement. Why would the agent want 20 weeks if they're that confident in their ability and the advice that they're giving? Why would they need a 20-week agreement? Penny drops. Exactly that, because it's too much money. Now, the listings come on with me at my price, and I'm super happy with it. It's a nice short contract because that's not here nor there to me. I don't have a problem with it at all, like most of us. But the benefit is to the agent, and a lot of agents are scrabbling around for listings at the moment. It's the old sort of, stack them high and not necessarily sell them low, but just get as much as you can. Market share, market share, market share. That's what is continuing to happen with some, not all, but some agents. And there are a few that we all know, that a couple of us have worked for in the past, where they are market share. That is above everything else. That's what they want. Whether they sell it or not, doesn't matter, because some of it will just sell. It does, doesn't it? But out of 50 instructions, if they don't sell 20 of them, doesn't matter. That 30 covers their business model. And that's how some agents are still working. And I'll try not to go off too much at one of my rants, but it's a massive bugbear for me, because I've done 7 valuations in the last 3 days, all great valuations, mixture of prices, and it's happened again on a couple of those. And as always, I'd love to say who the agents are, but I'm not going to. They know who they are, probably watching. But the point is that
do it.
Don't, because I will. But it keeps happening, and it's these high prices, long agency agreements. Don't get me. I will rant. I will. We should have a podcast of Chris's rant, shouldn't we? Once a week, once a day. But yeah, sorry, I'm going off a massive tangent here. But the point is, no, true. But my point is, it's just not needed, and I think it's agents hoodwinking, really good clients, motivated clients, giving them false hope of these amazing prices, where we all know the market is adjusting, not coming down necessarily. It's adjusting. It's going through a transitional period at the moment because of all the reasons that we're probably about to discuss as well. Rant over.
Thank you. Nearly 7 minutes in. Does anyone else want to talk?
Wrap it up there then, shall we?
It's a very fair point, though, and it's a topical subject that probably people in the public have spoken about for many, many years, over a decade, maybe 2. And we all know it's a sales tactic, and often it happens. January and August are probably the worst 2 months for it. January, because they've got low stock levels from December and Christmas, loads of new valuations, and they know there's motivated sellers, and effectively they take advantage of you by tying you in for halfway through the year. And August, because people have still got sales targets and people are on holiday, so therefore there's less volume. So they try and all the tricks in the tool case to get them on the market. I think it's probably fairly, if a property's not sold within, how long would you say it's overpriced at the moment?
Probably within the first 4 weeks, I would imagine. If it hasn't sold in 4 weeks, then it's probably gonna, in this market, need an adjustment in some shape or form. But yeah, Chris is right. We could all rant probably for a whole hour about agents' contracts and tie-in periods. And funny enough, just before we came on air, I was speaking to a tout who he's been locked into a 16-week contract. He's literally come to the end of his 16-week contract in about a week's time, and as far as he's concerned, that's where the contract ends. I'm like, well, you need to read your contract, because actually there'll be a notice period within that contract with around 21, 28 days in some cases. That can be served at any point, but it doesn't kick in until that contract period has ended. Therefore, you've got another 3 or 4 weeks. Nice hat, Mike. You've got another 3 or 4 weeks to run thereafter. And that also catches a lot of people out. People don't see that notice period and actually realise it's added to the end of that agency term. Yeah,
I totally agree. Tristan, in lettings, you don't see too much of this, do you? You kind of, I guess there is lettings agency contracts where they're locked in for a period of time, but in reality, it's a bit different, because the landlord is buying into the agent to manage their property, not necessarily to let it, but they give confidence to the agent 9 times out of 10 that they're just going to do business with that individual. But if that individual estate agency messes up, they'll just take the business to another letting agent. And it's a bit more of a gentleman's handshake, if you like. It's a bit more business to business than what it seems to be in the sales market. Is that a fair assessment from a lettings agent's point of view?
No, I'd probably say it's slightly different. I think a majority of the agents local to where we cover will all try and lock them in for a fixed period of time. So 16 weeks with 2 weeks notice periods. But people that come
16 weeks?
Yeah.
To find a tenant?
Yeah. I mean, not that you need it. Let's be honest. I mean, in the current market, if it's not gone, I think every property I've listed recently has gone
7
on
days.
first appointments with multiple offers. So if it's not gone in the first week of marketing, you're doing something wrong. I don't have a sole agency contract. You work with me because you want to work with me. Obviously, I welcome competition because I know I'll always win. But it's you do find people try and lock them in.
Ryan said, "Hi guys, if property hasn't sold in the first few weeks, is the best option to reduce, or is there anything else the seller can do before?" Great question. Reducing your price should be the last thing you do.
100%.
I think we're all in agreement with that. And a property that was listed this week that had been on the market with another agent that I won't name names, that didn't manage to find a buyer. Yeah, Blue begins with R, I won't say the name. And effectively they changed over to us. And actually when we looked at the photography, just angles, positions, using the drone versus what was there previously, the house just is a totally different house, just on the first front shot in itself. And there's some of the things you can do, Ryan, to really try and change the way that someone views. Because if someone's searching on Rightmove, you've got to stop the scroll. There's a lot of properties to flick through. And unless it's something stands out, and that's the headline, the first image, or the price, then the scroll will not be stopped. So you have to make scroll stopping front shots, I think, is really important. And then when you move away from...
I was going to say there's still too many when you search through Rightmove of properties that have got old photos from 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. You know, when there's barely any leaves on the trees, you just think, why? You know, how hard is it just to nip out on a nice sunny day like we've had for like the last month and just take a stunning front shot with blue skies and, you know, trees with, you know, full bloom. Just makes a world of difference.
And I guess
great
as well, Chris, if there's any green grass, it's out of date now, isn't it? That's
a little bit.
Grass is all dead everywhere. Have you seen green grass recently? I haven't seen green grass in a while.
I have.
No.
There was a viewing on property this morning that I had an open house on, was full of green grass, and that's what everyone commented on.
Wow.
So,
what, in the garden?
Well, I mean, it was only laid literally a couple of weeks ago, but that's not the point.
How'd that count?
That's like Photoshop.
Chris, in fact, King's Ride, his garden was rather green, wasn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, that was epic, wasn't it? King's Ride, beautiful house.
You probably did walk it like 3 times a day.
Yeah, I'm sure
probably.
Hosepipe band somewhere, maybe not there.
Can I just add a point in terms of what you were chatting to a moment ago? Is the other frustrating thing that I find when you're looking through portals is if there's no floor plan and EPCs haven't been updated when they've done work. We spoke about this on the podcast last week, Ian, and there's so many properties out there where they're putting old EPCs on because it's a requirement to obviously sell the property or rent it, and they haven't had it updated for the sake of 40, 50, 60 pounds, where that could be a big deciding factor for someone on bills with the way they're going at the moment. So it's important to look at these as well. If you've done work on your property that has improved the energy performance of it, pay the money and get that sorted, because that could go from a D to a C potentially, depending on what you've done.
I think this is a great point, because what I've got 2 sales agents that are specifically more dominant around sales in Lee and Chris. And then Tristan's looking at this because he's sourcing for landlords. And at the moment for landlords, realistically, they want EPC ratings to be D's, C's and B's. D's, obviously, if they can get it to a C. So it needs to have a potential rating of C, because legislation is due to change. So landlords and property investors are not really interested in anything below a D. And actually, a lot of properties that do go live use an old EPC because the agent tells them to, but they've had windows done, or they've had heating changes, or they've got cavity wall insulation or loft insulation done. And as a result, the EPC rating is that much higher, but that potential property investor or landlord may not view it because of that. Or it could be because someone's looking into like a green mortgage and, you know, they need it to be a B, and it is a B, but it's not showing as a B, and they want to get the lower interest rate on a green mortgage. So it's a really good point, Tristan, that I don't think a lot of sales agents think about, but spending that 50, 60 quid to get an EPC done, if you've done work, is probably going to help people, especially moving forward based on bills and stuff. Fair point, Chris, probably.
Yeah, 100%. Totally agree with that.
Yeah, good point there, Tristan. How is lettings in general at the moment, bud?
Crazy busy. Last month we've seen records broken from the Good Lord price index, where rents were up by just under 18%, and void periods had dropped across the country, but also locally from like 18 days to 10 days. So a massive drop in void periods, and also salaries have obviously gone up as well. I'm finding every property at the moment is receiving open houses and multiple offers, and it hasn't died down probably in about 2 months now. I've done 4 open houses in the past 10 days, and everyone's had sort of multiple offers on over asking price as well. So the cost of living, prices going up substantially, is not affecting people on offering on these properties. And it's not people scraping through either. People can comfortably afford these properties, and it's just not affecting them. But it'd be interesting to see what happens in the next 6 months or so. But yeah, records have been set so far.
Powerful stuff, yeah. From a lettings point of view, it just seems that there's no end of those prices increasing. Yeah, very interesting indeed. So, Lee, just flinging back to you, I've put a screen share on here. This is obviously a drone image that I believe you took earlier on today. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
So let's talk about this new site that you've got, because even if you don't live in the area, you're not looking for a new site, this is a really quirky, interesting one. I've not really seen much like this previously. This is just the setting of obviously where it sits at the moment, but talk us through it, and I'll get a few of the slides up while you do it.
Yeah, so basically down in Alfold, which is approximately 10 minutes south of Cranleigh, we've got I've literally just listed 7 barn conversions. So originally it was a big old stable block. Developers bought it at auction and then split it into 8 properties, and obviously done a full conversion on them. Really nice spec, granite worktops, massive, great big open plan, lounge, kitchen, dining areas, 3/4 bedrooms, bathroom, bedroom downstairs, and then 2 double bedrooms with a family bathroom upstairs. But just absolutely superb setting. As you can see from the first drone image, you've literally just got open countryside all around you. There's loads of walks, bridle ways. So if you like walking, or if you have equestrian, if you like horses and equestrian properties, they're literally dotted all around. The beauty of these properties are that, I mean, they're a fantastic size at around about 1,800 square foot, but you are literally sort of 10 minutes from Cranleigh, 20 minutes from Horsham, or if you need to get into Guildford, it's about 20, 25 minutes up the road. So if somebody still needs to commute, it's easy to commute straight back into Guildford, but then have a fantastic sized property in the middle of Surrey countryside.
There's actually some green on there as well, some green fields. I don't know if we're getting any farmers in trouble by showing that, if there's a hosepipe ban down there, but there's some nice crops growing there, and some of the classic kind of dirty yellow that we're seeing pretty much everywhere else at the moment. So I was down there with Chris earlier on, and obviously doing some bits down there, some filming, and it's just an absolute superb setting. Really, it's really lovely. All the properties you got, plenty of parking to the front, but it's just a really, really lovely setting. Cool, love that. Absolutely love it.
Can't wait to get those sold.
Yeah, excited to see the full videos on those. Talking about government incentives for 2023. I know someone wanted to discuss it. I apologise, I don't know who actually put that in as a comment. But what do we think? Do we think if interest rates keep going up, or how do we help, I don't know, first-time buyers or families, whatever it may be, what should be, if at all, an incentive going into 2023? What's your take on that, Chris? Any pearls of wisdom, any quirky ideas that you've got?
I mean, we saw what happened when we had the stamp duty holiday up till the end of June last year, which was brilliant. A saving of up to £15,000, which is is massive, in the grand scheme of things. And do I think we should have another one of those? I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, yeah, it was great.
It? What about just up to 500? No one pays stamp duty.
That'd be nice.
Well, basically like it was last time. And I think that would be a good idea again. I mean, but then at the same time, the market's not struggling. We're not. We're not on tail end of COVID, are we? But it's a slightly different world now than it was a year ago. Do I think we need that kind of incentive? No, I don't necessarily think we do. But do I think we need that incentive? Well, I'm all that. I always I'm in favour of any incentive that is going to help first-time buyers, get on the ladder. Obviously, we've all been first-time buyers at some point, and it wasn't easy. It's very difficult raising a massive chunk of money for what are still very expensive houses or properties. So, I do think there should be something. What I'd like to see something new, something that hasn't been done before. I mean, Help to Buy has been a good thing and a bad thing, I think, for some people, but I do think there should be something. I haven't really thought about what it necessarily could be. Ask me on the next one, and I'll have a whole load of incentives for you. But yeah, I think something should be there, definitely, particularly for first-time buyers.
Tristan, for landlords, obviously, they haven't had any incentives. If anything, in the last sort of 10 years, they've had the opposite. They've had challenges to buy properties. As a result, we're now seeing more landlords selling than buying, less and less properties becoming available, meaning rents are increasing. So actually, although people did that with a basis of we'll give first-time buyers more opportunity, take the landlords out of the market, a lot of first-time buyers are tenants, and the affordability of what rent is now, it's almost counterproductive, because it means tenants are paying so much money in rent, they're not able to save to become first-time buyers. If we added 10x of the amount of rental properties to the market overnight, we added 10 times what's available now, rents wouldn't keep going up. If anything, they might be a bit more competitive. Is that an incentive? And I know you're biased, but is that an incentive that should seriously be discussed? Should the 3% tax for landlords maybe be scrapped to help bring more landlords to the market?
I don't think, although the 3% additional stamp duty was a big factor for a lot of investors out there, but the investors I've dealt with recently, they're not bothered by it. I think it's all the other legislation on top that's been added in that's adding to their costs, like the EPC changes that's going to come into effect, the EICRs that are mandatory, and all the other legislation on the back end side of things that are happening that's costing them more and more money. It's becoming more one-sided for tenants. But I think it would have a factor on it. But I think there's a lot of new. I think the people that are selling right now are existing landlords that have had their portfolios for 10 years onwards. They've made some good money from it. The tenants have paid rent throughout the duration, and they're just exiting the market. And the landlords or the investors we're dealing with now are just a new wave of investors that haven't done it before, so they wouldn't know any different.
With the stamp duty holiday, it brought people into the market. If you were buying an investment for 350 and all of a sudden you didn't have to pay that 10 grand in tax that you would have to do as an additional now.
We're seeing more let to buys. So a lot of people are upsizing and then renting out their main home. That was what I see a massive increase of during that. So yes, it will help massively. It will make it a bit more competitive on the rental side, but at the moment there's still a massive shortage. So they need to do something to make it more attractive to landlords. And I think that might be one option for that. Either that, or they need to look at other avenues.
Lee, what about yourself? Any ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be absolutely amazing if they did scrap stamp duty, like you said, up to 500, 600,000 for people, obviously to allow them to put that money that they would have to, have separately for their purchase into their deposit to allow them to buy a bigger property. It certainly help first-time buyers and first-time sellers, obviously, upsize, to the property that they want. I mean, obviously, you know, Help to Buy has been huge, you know, over the years. You know, it certainly helped obviously get buyers onto the property market. It's also had a slight negative effect from those people selling similar size second-hand properties, you know, where you've got a lot of new build being built in the area from, you know, that'd be ideal for a first-time buyer where they'd come around and view a second-hand 2-bed, but then go 5 minutes up the road and buy effectively the same second-hand 2-bed, but with Help to Buy, and, you know, obviously have a cheaper mortgage. So, you know, obviously now that's on its way out. You know, you probably see a lot more first-time buyers will have the choice of buying, you know, either brand new now or second-hand. But yeah, I think, you know, the government definitely need to do something from a first-time buyer's perspective, because it is hard. You know, the average house price now is what, 293,000, 297,000 or something like that. So, you know, from a first-time buyer's perspective, you've got to have £30,000 worth of deposit plus stamp duty and everything else on top. That's a lot of money for people to find. So if there was some sort of incentive to help those buyers get onto the ladder, and as we all know, we need the first-time buyers to buy. You know, we need them to buy the 1s and 2s, the 2s to move to 3, and it snowballs up the chain. So that's really where it's got to start.
We've had a huge problem with people finding onwards, haven't we? We've had a lot of bottlenecks of chains. I haven't thought of this before this chat, but because Chris said we need to think of something creative, I was just thinking, let's just abolish stamp duty tax, because that's the easiest thing. But then he got me thinking, how do we do something that's creative, because that's never going to happen. What about if there was an option, if you could add your stamp duty tax to the loan?
Can I jump in on that?
Yeah,
that's going to kind of create that issue again that we had, like, let's pick on Northern Rock when they were existence, where they were doing like 110% mortgages. Essentially, that's kind of what that's going to do, isn't it? You're essentially adding a loan on top of the existing mortgage, and if you're getting a 95% mortgage, adding a chunk of stamp duty onto that almost might immediately put you close to negative equity.
I don't think you could do it on 95s, but if you drew the line at 15% deposit minimum, 85% loan to value, and the people that are in the middle chunk that are thinking, we've got our 3-bed terrace, we want to buy the 4-bed detached, it's going to cost us 28 grand in stamp duty tax, we can't really make that work because we need that cash out of the bank savings. But actually, if we were to upsize to that, we could still hit our 85% loan to value from the sale of our own property. We could buy knowing that we're not pulling that cash straight out of our bank, and 28 grand across 25 years on even a 4% interest rate is not going to, destroy someone financially, but it could make a move happen at a time that they need to make a move happen. But I totally agree with you on the high loan to values. It wouldn't work, but
no,
I don't know whether that is something that you thought about, because you can add the arrangement fee to the loan, but it's normally like 2 grand max for a buy to let, normally a bit less. Love people's thoughts on that. If anyone's watching, any of the avocado mob, any other estate agents or people, adding stamp duty tax to the mortgage advisors, what do you think about that? Be interested to hear. In terms of the market in general, how is it over in your neck of the woods, Lee?
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I mean, obviously, typically, holiday season, a lot of people tend to be away, but I'm finding the complete opposite at the moment. I mean, there's a lot more buyers around, a lot more vendors are around. Valuations haven't really dried up. I know we hear it every day where, we speak to other agents and they're quiet, but I'm not seeing it at all. There's still plenty of buyers around and plenty of activity, and people still want to move. Irrespective of whether it's like Tristan was saying, from the lettings market or us in the sales market, there's still plenty of activity out there, and I think it's going to continue. So, yeah.
Good. Interest rates not affecting Cranleigh. What about Camberley? Chris, you said, I can't remember the word you used, but you said you were hectic.
Yeah, I'm still super busy, and I think actually most agents here are. I speak a lot of my good friends are estate agents locally as well, and obviously we always have little business chats now. How you're finding things, and always get very honest answers. And some are busier than others, but across the board, I'd say everyone's still pretty busy at the moment. I think the interest rate hikes are affecting the market, certainly here, and I'm sure it's not an isolated incident for Camberley and Frimley. And I think we could be heading into a period where some very realistic advice needs to be given on valuations. And obviously, from my little rant earlier about overpricing, that kind of goes hand in hand with that. But yeah, look, it's busy. It is busy. I think the average time to find a buy now, I think, has increased. I think we're looking at, as opposed to it was literally days, sometimes hours, a year ago. But I think it's probably 2 to 3 weeks at the moment, average time to find a buy. What I'm seeing here anyway, with the stock that I've been dealing with. And yeah, but it's good. No problems, no concerns with it, even if the market takes a dip in 6 months to a year's time, if that happens. I haven't got a crystal ball, but not concerned about it. It is what it is. We've all worked in much, much tougher markets. But yeah, on the whole, it's good.
Good. Interesting. Tristan, what's dropping tomorrow on the podcast, on the Landlord Page podcast? What's the episode that launches?
We're going to state the facts of what's going on, all the contradicting news reports people have been seeing about what's going on in the marketplace, slowing down. We're going to pull through some data from Zoopla, Rightmove, Good Lord, which is factual of what's happening on a daily basis of tenants moving in, and just basically our open opinions, really, along with some advice we've received from different brokers around. So something to certainly look out for.
Yeah, it's a good 30 minutes. Cool. If anyone hasn't seen the bloopers and the outtakes of tomorrow's episode, it's well worth trolling through the socials and checking it out, because we had fun with this one. And there's some seriously good information. If you're an estate agent watching, check out that podcast tomorrow, because you'll get a lot of inspiration from it and content ideas for sure. Lee, we've already mentioned your new builds that are obviously coming to the market soon. Any other little secret squirrels you can tell us about?
Nothing else at the moment. There's a few bits I'm working on, but nothing else at the moment. So yeah, those barn conversions are the ones will be launched in the next 24 hours. So keep an eye on those. 7
of those, is there, Lee?
7, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Prices range from 585 to 650.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, they look really cool, quirky. I might try and get down there as well. Tristan, lettings, anything bubbling?
3-bedroom semi in Forest Park coming up, driveway parking, integral garage, and a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment also in Bracknell.
How long will they take to let?
They'll go same week as going live. So I'm just waiting for completion on the house. They've exchanged. That is expected to happen the early to mid-September. I'm just waiting for confirmation this week. And the apartments will go live once again this weekend, and will be let by next week.
Cool. Chris, yourself, anything you want to
Yeah, got a few. Got a absolute corker of a large 3-bed semi coming on the market in Farnborough in a week and a half. That's coming up 475. It's massive. It's really, really nice. Also got a 2-bed in Deep Cut coming up, and a 2 3-beds coming up in Frimley Green as well. And also in Camberley, got a awesome project. It's a house not been touched, bless it, for about 50 odd years, 60 odd years even, in a super, super road in Camberley. Not the one that I've got the open day on tomorrow in Parkway. It's a different one, but this one is definitely special with what could be done to it. It's going to be about 800 quarter-acre plot.
Can you get a mortgage on it?
Yes.
Good. He hopes.
Yeah, just what are the cracks? No, to be subject to survey, of course. Disclaimer on the bottom, please. But yeah, if it is mortgageable, which I think it probably is, then on my say so, head be it. Then yeah, that's cracking project.
Good. All right. I think we've covered most things on the agenda there. We are out of time. It's been a good Surrey conversation, obviously with the added spice of Tristan talking lettings and what's going on there as well. We've covered some good subjects. So if people are watching later on, we're not live. Fire in the comments if you've got a question. We'd love people's view on adding stamp duty to the mortgage, especially brokers and things like that. Is that an incentive that would work or not work? And what would be the reasons around it? And if anyone wants to talk to Lee, jump on his socials. Lee, what's your URL for Instagram and Facebook?
It's Lee Guy Mate Avocado Surrey for both.
Simple as that. And Chris?
Chris Gray, the angry estate. No, it's not. It's Chris Gray Avocado Property.
Yeah,
on
we
both.
need a new like Chris Rants as a hashtag. I think.
Yeah,
We might
yeah.
have to get that. Yeah,
Let's
get
do that in
hashtag.
there on the highlights.
And Tristan, I won't ask yours because it is your name. For anyone that doesn't know, this is Tristan. Not his name is not the landlord page. Although we could get that publicly changed, Tristan. That would
Yeah,
make
you can
life
change it
easier.
by default.
Yeah.
I'm Avocado Ian. If you want to follow me ranting on TikTok, at Avocado Ian, check it out on TikTok. There's always lots of comments and lots of people talking about my eyebrows. It's very exciting. Have a good evening.
You should
gang.
change it to eyebrows Ian.
Yeah, avocado eyebrows. There we go. See you all soon. Thanks.